Hey, Journey, welcome to Midweek Conversations. We kind of got a new name for this middle of the week time. We've been calling it After the Message Conversation, but not everything that we're going to be talking about is related to what we talked about in the weekend message. Pastor Dustin Agard, Associate Lead Pastor, is joining us, and today we are joined by Pastor Harvey Carpenter.
Yes, good to have you, Pastor Harvey.
Glad to be here.
Harvey is in a new role with us at Journey. And Harvey, you have been in a few different roles here with us. I mean, if we want to go back to your first iteration at Journey, you were student pastor, youth pastor, and then you came back to us a few years ago as associate pastor, pastoral care. You've done a lot of stuff, haven't you?
I've made the rounds, man. There was even a time years ago when my first time here, I was even the children's pastor. So I think I've been in just about every role here.
You know, it's always good to be a utilitarian, right?
That's right.
To have a utility purpose.
That's right.
That you always have a job.
That's right.
Pastor Harvey, I've never heard you mention anything about our children's ministry. I guess were those not your best years?
Well, it was back in the day, literally, when we moved into this building in 2002. That was my role.
Wow.
And it was.
I knew you did youth ministry. I didn't know children's ministry.
Yep.
Well, we kind of have an opening.
We do have an opening.
I mean,
you know what? I just got a brand new role. I'm going to stick with that one for now, at least.
I'm with you. So Harvey, your new role is online pastor. And we've been making a big deal, and much more, especially since COVID is shut down physical campuses, really moving ministry online, because it's the only thing we could do was online. Yeah. And in the midst of that, you kind of found a new passion, and we began to do a lot more looking at somebody needs to lead this online component of our ministry, and you became the guy for that.
Yeah, I think we realized that when COVID hit and all we had was online, we realized the impact that it can have.
Right.
And at that point, we realized, well, it needs a leader. It needs somebody devoted to just really focusing on the online community that we have. And so that kind of opened up a few opportunities and some ideas in my head. And I thought, you know what, this would be a wonderful way to get more involved in reaching people who are far from God. And so, yeah, here we are with an online church.
Everything needs a champion. Everything that's going to make an impact, or that we intend to have impact, needs a champion and needs a leader. And we see that in you, obviously. But part of what we did, we did a fidgetal community learning environment, and that you've heard us talk a little bit about that. The fidgetal, it's a combination of the word physical and digital, because that's really what we're doing. We especially right now after this past Sunday, we're back physical again, and there's a digital component to our ministry. So it's not either or, it's both and.
That's right. So many people that are engaged here at Journey are involved in both sides of it. They're in some ways involved with our online, whether it's a small group or occasionally tuning in online to the services, or getting with our social media. But then there's also the physical component of being here on the weekends or for other events. And so it's a blending of the two. That being said, there are some people who are exclusively online.
Yeah.
So we want to make sure we reach out to them as well. But there's a lot of fidgetal things happening these days. That's a brand new word that I'm.
I've always been fidgety a little bit, but fidgetals. Yeah. I'm learning what that is.
So the word that we learned early on in all this was the word pivot, and just like so many different corporations throughout the decades, if they didn't learn to pivot as they went through new changes, technology changes, then they ceased to exist. And we realized we needed to pivot, and so we did, and that's where this role came in and said we do need a champion, because some people think out there that an online campus or an online ministry is social media, and let's put a video camera and do a message and maybe some other things, but there's a lot of pastoral care and presence needed.
Yeah.
Anywhere that we connect. When you have hundreds of people and sometimes thousands drawing their eyes to something, that's when a lot of needs that you've been able to minister to and help connect dots on.
Well, that's so true, because Journey Online is not just about tuning in on the weekends and watching a service and being disengaged. The real beauty of an online church community is engagement. You have to get people involved, even if they are, even if they connect with you just exclusively online. You got to find ways to get them connected and involved, and so it's a real community. It's a real church community that's living and thriving and has opportunities for service. It's engaging. It involves people in doing ministry. And you're right. There have been a number of folks who, over the last few months, especially as we've been exclusively online, who've reached out to us through our online community and just asked for pastoral care, pastoral help. I can think of one instance where there was a family that's a local family that was going through a difficult time and had only ever connected with Journey online. That was their whole experience. Yet they felt compelled to reach out and request some pastoral care for a hospice situation that they were dealing with. And we were able to meet their needs. We were able to connect with the family. We were able to walk them through a very difficult valley that they were going through. And so that's exactly what we're trying to do through this online campus is not just have people watch and, from a distance, but literally get engaged up close because relationships are what matters.
I think there's two important concepts that you're hitting on, Harvey, and I wrote down in my notes from some seminar we were watching, the difference between reach and engagement. Reach is one-way presentation. So we can reach a lot of people with a message, with a weekend gathering. People are watching, but it's one-way presentation. Engagement is two-way conversation, and I think that's a good way to put it. Reach is one-way presentation. Engagement is two-way conversation, and that's where people are connecting. They're reaching out. They're taking next steps, and that's part of what we try to do with the next steps for people who are ready to do that. And we've seen several people in these last 6 months, pretty much the last 6 months from mid-March till just this past Sunday, September 13th. We've been primarily an online-only ministry. We had 3 weeks where we came back on site, and then that didn't last long. But we have seen people take next steps in these last 6 months.
We have. We've seen a lot of people take next steps, and I can give you a couple of examples. In fact, we have a brand new gentleman who's just come on board as a chat host. So on one of our online platforms, you can engage in chat. This, again, is a helping people to build relationships, sometimes with people they don't even know, that are really on the other side of the country or even on the other side of the world.
Right.
But this one gentleman, Nicholas is his name, he came on. Again, he's a local fellow, but never has attended a physical campus here, but's been engaged online throughout this whole COVID time. And he reached out and found a way to serve, and he's come on board as a chat host. This was his next step. Yeah. In his journey with Jesus. How can I serve? And so we brought him on, and he just started, in fact, recently. And we're always looking for chat hosts, people who would want to take the next step, who are interested in making connections, engaging with people, talking online, building relationships, making people feel comfortable at our online service. So we're always looking for people to take that next step. That's
shout out to Nicholas. Well done. Yes. And Pastor John, you're talking about how it is a two-way conversation, and I think when it's one way, I think it's more of an inspiration. And I know the goal for the church is not to necessarily just inspire people. It's for life change. And that's the two-way conversation. If people are just watching and hearing something, you're going to be inspired, and that's going to last 24 hours. But an action creates that life change, and that's exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, we never want to forget. It doesn't matter what version of ministry we're doing, whether it's a physical campus or digital. Our mission is the same.
That's right.
Our mission is to make disciples of Jesus that love God, love people, and serve the world. So it's not just about, hey, are people listening or people watching? Is how are they becoming a disciple, and how can we help them become a disciple of Jesus? And that's why these next steps are so important. We've in the past,
and like you say, there's always a next step.
Yeah,
when you follow Jesus.
When you're following Jesus, there's always a next step to take. That's exactly right. So a couple of things that we've done recently, Harvey. Number one, you have helped launch Discover Your Journey online. We've done
Right.
it twice now,
Right.
but that was just a physical campus ministry, but now we've moved that online, and we've seen several people join us online over the last couple months.
What we recognized was that we can make it easier for people to engage online through something like that. So it gives the opportunity for more people to take the next step and attend Discover Your Journey online.
Yeah.
And they can do it from the convenience of their own home.
Right.
And we've seen the last 2 months that we've done this, that a lot of people have engaged with Discover Your Journey. And in this most recent one, 3 or 4 people that attended took a next step, whether that next step was serving, baptism, joining Rooted, whatever it might have been. We see that people are engaging. People want to take a next step in their journey with Jesus. If you follow Jesus and you're in love with who he is, and you want to do the very best you can to honor God, you're compelled to take a next step. You want to take a next step. So what you're really looking for is just, how can we make it easy for people to take a
Right.
next step?
Yeah.
And Discover Your Journey is one way that we do that.
Not watered down, because some people might hear the word easy. You don't water anything down, but you always give people a tangible, easy next step.
Exactly.
So that it's possible, so they see the hope in it, and it's always moving them to Christ.
You make the path clear.
Yeah.
You clear out the brush so they know what the next step is.
Yeah, the discipleship path applies to any version, whether it's online or whether it's at a physical campus.
Yep.
The discipleship path is the same. So I think that's an important thing that we've done in the last couple of months. In particular, and the next Discover Your Journey online will be the first Sunday evening of October. And I believe that's October the 4th when we'll do the next Discover Your Journey online. So just a couple weeks away or 3 weeks away. Something this past week we just launched is a online community, Facebook community.
Yes.
So tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so we timed that so that the first week we were back on site, we wanted to do something special for the online community. And so what we did was we launched our Journey Online Facebook group. And it's primarily focused for those who would make the online experience their worship experience. So it's geared for those folks. And so it's a great way for people to stay connected, to be engaged, just to be a part of a community, even if they don't attend here physically. And really, Facebook groups are a great way to do that. And so we're hoping to take that as an opportunity just to grow our influence, to help people feel more connected. So if you watch online, if that's your primary mode of worshiping with Journey, join our Facebook group. We'd love to have you as a part of that community and be able to get to know you a little bit better and connect with you. And we're looking forward to what we can do with that, because we're going to take we're going to do some behind the scenes with our videoing. We're going to maybe attend some watch parties and do some live Facebook feeds from there. We want to keep people up to date with some of the events that are happening in our online community, some great sermon quotes. We want to put up some sermon clips and just really help people to get a good feel for what Journey is all about.
Now, you got people watching from all over the world, United States and all over the world, and there are some people that are still a little confused, like online, I don't know, maybe that's just... Can you really experience life change? But we've seen that.
We've seen it.
We've seen people give their life to Christ. We've seen people get baptized. We've seen, I know, Pastor John, you even shared a friend of yours had somebody that flew in from out of town because of their online community just to get baptized. So this is a legit ministry opportunity. Can you just share with us, where are people watching from?
Well, from all over, really, from all over. We have people from all over the United States. We've got a family in Alabama that tunes in every week, and we're so glad that you do. We've got people from up in Massachusetts, Canada, all over the state of Florida, of course, Texas, out west. We have people in Puerto Rico. We have the continent of Africa. We've got people in England. So people from all over the world are tuning in, and sometimes we don't even know where they're all from. But we're having a very broad and wide impact, and so that's really the beauty of an online community, because here's the thing. We can go into places, we can go into countries, we can go into cities that perhaps churches aren't even welcome in. But through the internet, if you have an internet connection and you have access to online digital things, we can reach into that community.
Yeah, we got to
24/7, by the way.
Yeah, and we got to remember, not everybody is as welcoming. Even if it's not outlawed, there might not be as many churches, or maybe they're rural, and there's not, and so there can be. And
they don't have access, exactly.
And I need to give a shout out because there's one guy that watches every week from India. So Myth, if you're watching from India, hello, and I don't even know if you can understand this. We've only been emailing, and it's a little rough. But what's up, Myth?
I know for a period of time, we had a family in New Zealand that had family members here, and they would watch the worship gatherings together. And I don't even know what time it would be in New Zealand when we're doing like a Sunday morning gathering here. But so the family in Central Florida watching at the same time. So that's cool. I just got a note from this past week. It said, "Hello, I'm so thankful to be able to join your services online. When COVID shut down our church, my sister invited all our siblings to join your service. It has been a life-changing experience for me." And she said, just a big shout out to all of you. And she said, now listening every week to your service has helped me grow more. So it's just great to hear. And we get communication like that regularly from people telling us how much they've been impacted by our online presence.
Yeah. Well, and that's the beauty of it, is that the message is the same. Whether you're on site or whether you're online, it's the same message. And with our online community, we just have a digital way of expressing it, a digital platform to leverage the message of hope through the gospel to all around the world. So it's life-changing in that sense, that it's the same message. And the message of Jesus changes your life, whether you're in person or whether you hear it online. It's transformational.
I think it's important, and you pointed this out, Harvey, that we came back on site for worship gatherings at Lake County and Apopka this past week, but our online numbers, the people who were joining us in online for the worship services, it did not go down. So we had almost 700 people at Apopka and Lake County, and yet the online numbers stayed the same. What do you think that tells us, Harvey?
Well, what I think it tells us is there's more potential there than maybe we possibly realized, and we're making an impact. And it could be that there were some people who prefer the online, or rather prefer the in-person setting, and really they wanted to come back and just be a part of that. But it also tells us there are a whole lot of people who really prefer an online experience.
I agree.
And so for that reason, I think looking back now at our early COVID days, where we decided as a team to double down on our online campus and what that means and how that works, and really invest time and effort to it, we're seeing that pay off. That's what that is.
I agree. I think it also tells us, as we've heard, and maybe some folks that are watching right now, they do want to get back in person, but they're just not ready.
Yeah,
they're not ready.
Yep.
They just don't feel good about being around larger crowds of people. They've been real careful over the last 6 months. I still hear from a lot of folks like that. So that's why it's important to continue, as you said, to double down. Now, we did change our format a little bit this past week with how online is presented. And that is Pastor Jeremy Tomlinson, a creative arts pastor, calls it a hybrid kind of approach. Explain that a little bit more, Harvey.
So hybrid means that we have some pre-recorded elements and then some elements that are actually live streamed, that are happening in real time. And it works well because what the hybrid does for you is that it brings that excitement of a live venue, live worship, people in the room, live teaching. It brings you that, but at the same time, when you're speaking exclusively to the online community, those elements are pre-recorded, and you can speak specifically to people who are only watching online. And so I think that's important. I think the hybrid is a good model for us.
Good.
Now, I know one of the things is we've talked about, we want people to engage.
Yeah.
And so the whole idea is we don't think we're ever created to be an island, maybe a peninsula. So you might be in India or Africa, and you could still find a way to be connected. Just don't isolate yourself. Watching but not being connected is isolation. And so what are some of the ways, I know you're looking to continue to build a team. What are some of the ways that they can jump in and serve, if you got people listening that are part of your online community? How can they step in and step up?
Well, there's a number of ways that you can serve, and that's really one of the keys to feeling like you're a part of something that's larger than yourself, that you're a part of a family or a community, is getting involved, being active in some way, serving, as you mentioned. There's a couple of ways you can serve in our online community. One is you could be a chat host. We talked about that just a minute ago, like our friend Nicholas and others. If that's something you feel sort of compelled to do, like you enjoy chatting with people and just doing it digitally, that's a way to serve as a chat host. And we have chat hosts on all of our platforms. We broadcast our services on Facebook, on our website, on YouTube, and each of those have a chat platform. So we need a lot of hosts every week. And we have 3 services a weekend. So we need at least 6, 8, 10 hosts throughout the weekend. Another way you could serve is that you could be a part of our prayer team. We have prayer requests coming in online constantly and throughout the week. And so we'd love to have people who are engaged with our online community say, hey, we'd love to pray for those requests, and we could set you up as a part of our prayer team. Another way that you could serve is you could be a small group leader. So we have a lot of online groups.
Yes, we do.
A whole lot of online groups. And every group has to have a leader. And we can only have as many groups as we have leaders. So we're always looking for people to lead an online group. And so if that's another way to serve.
What if I've never been to seminary? Can I lead?
Yeah, you don't have to have a seminary degree to lead an online group.
Because honestly, that's what so many, I haven't memorized the whole Bible, and so there's this intimidating factor, but it's really a facilitator.
It's really being a facilitator.
Yeah.
Like with our rooted groups, we have those online, and that's a facilitator's group.
Yeah.
Or role, I should say. And it's not about teaching theology, really. It's not about having all the answers or knowing, having all the verses memorized. It's about leading people in a discussion. It's about building a community. It's about just helping people through difficult times. And because any question that someone asks you as a facilitator that you don't know the answer to, you could always go find the answer. You can always go ask somebody, talk to a pastor. You could do the research on your own. You can find the answer and come back later. So don't let that discourage you from being a small group leader. Another way you could serve is to host a watch party.
Yep.
So that's basically opening up your home or another location, getting a group of people together and say, hey, we're gonna tune in and we're gonna worship at Journey Online this week, but we're all gonna do it together at my house or at this location. And if you're the host of that, that's really a great outreach, a way to bring people. You could do it in your neighborhood. You could invite your neighbors to your house to watch and be a part of the online service.
Some people call that a microsite.
Yeah.
We are multi-site with different congregations at different campuses, but a microsite is going into those home environments or maybe a community center and doing things like that. That's good. Harvey, as we wrap up, anything else we need to be aware of, or anything else we can pray for about our online community?
Well, just pray that God opens up some opportunities for our message to go to places that we never even expected. And we want to see the world turned upside down for Jesus. We're really striving to build a radically diverse, large online community. And we're doing this all to the glory of God. And like I said, our message is Jesus, but our method is the online campus. And I just pray that God uses that in a significant way.
Very cool.
Amen.
All right. Thank you, Pastor Harvey, Pastor Dustin, for being a part of this midweek conversation. This weekend, just a good reminder, we're in a new message series called Soul Care. And we're learning about taking care of the most important part of ourselves, our soul. Jesus said, what's it profit a man if he gains the whole world and loses his soul? So we're talking about taking care of our soul. This week, we're going to talk about the soil of your soul. Souls can have different receptivity levels. And Jesus told a story about that. We're going to look at that story this coming weekend. Excited to share that with you. So whether you're joining us on site at Lake County or at Apopka, remember to get your ticket, no cost ticket, but kind of reserve a seat. We're trying to figure out how we can make more seats available in both of our physical campuses. But if you're online, you don't have to worry about getting a ticket, right? You don't have to worry about fighting traffic or anything like that. You can just join us online, because whether we're on site or online, we're always on mission. So thanks for joining us for Midweek Conversation, and we'll see you next time.